Hi, I'm Jacqueline. Thanks for joining my channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. So today I'm going to give you some tips on how to have an unmedicated birth. I'm a mom of 4 and I have birthed 3 of those 4 children. Out of those 3 kids, 2 of them have been unmedicated births. So my first son was 10.1 pounds and 23 inches long. My second son was 12.5 pounds and 23 inches long. And then my third son was 11.2 pounds and 22 inches long. So the last 2 are the ones that I birthed unmedicated at birth center, so it can be done. Also, I wanted to add I did not have gestational diabetes, and I only gained 30 pounds with my first, 26 with the second, and 19.7 pounds with my third. So a lot of people think that I just gained a lot of weight or had diabetes, but I didn't. So I just wanted to start off there. My first tip that I would give you for an unmedicated birth is to have a supportive partner and or a doula. So if you don't have a supportive partner, definitely make sure you have a doula. I've never personally used one, but they've been highly recommended to me. I used my husband as my doula instead. But make sure you have someone supportive there to help you, because it's going to be hard and you'll need them there through the tough times. My second tip is to have a great team of midwives. And make sure that you interview them first. So when I was looking for a midwife with my second and third boys, I went on Google and kind of researched interview questions for midwives. And I sat through and we went through the list of questions with them and found our midwives that way, because you want to make sure that you feel comfortable with the person that you're going to be seeing throughout your pregnancy and the person that will be delivering your babies. My third tip is to have a great music playlist. I like to use Pandora. So I've used Pandora with my last 2 births, and it's nice because you can have different stations on there. So I like to go back and forth when I'm at different points of my labor, and I'll go back and forth between country or hip hop or rap, and it's really nice because your mood can change quickly. So if you're feeling like country's too slow, you can put on some rap music or whatever kind of music you like to listen to. Some moms like just classical music, so that's really nice to have a playlist. And also when you're giving birth, if you have that song that's playing while you're giving birth, that's really sweet too. My fourth tip is to have a birth quote or a mantra that you repeat to yourself. So at the last birth center I gave birth at, they had a quote on the wall, and it was something about she believed in herself so she could, or so she did. I don't quite remember what it was, but I remember at different points of my labor when I thought that I couldn't do it anymore and I wanted to give up, I'd look at that quote and I'd breathe through the contractions while I was staring at that, and I'd repeat it to myself, and it really helped me get through, especially during the transition time, which for me ended up being the longest phase with my third labor. Another one that really helps is my husband would say to me while I was having contractions and saying I couldn't do it anymore, "You're 1 contraction closer to holding him." So that seemed to really help me through, and then I would tell myself I can do it. Just 1 more contraction and I'm 1 more contraction closer. So definitely have a birth quote that you'd like to use or a mantra that you repeat to yourself. My 5th tip for an unmedicated labor and birth would be to have a birthing ball with you. I definitely use that a lot with my second and third labors to help the boys drop down. All 3 of my boys had 15-inch heads, so they kind of would get stuck for a little bit and I'd have to assist them. So just bouncing up and down on the ball and being able to rock my hips around and get them into different positions. I just picked one up at Walmart and it was like 10 bucks, so they're pretty cheap, but I definitely recommend having that to help you while you're in labor and move the baby down the birth canal. My 6th tip, and you have to check with where you're birthing to see if they're allowed, but I would definitely recommend having sports drinks like Gatorade and water, and having some snacks and food to keep your body fueled while you're in labor, because it's going to be a long time probably. My first labor was 46 hours and I pushed for 4 hours. My second labor was only 13 hours and pushed for 30 minutes. And my last labor was 10 hours and pushed for 30 minutes. But you know, even with the longest and the shortest one, it still feels like forever. So you'll want to make sure that you are fueling your body and helping through those times. My 7th tip is to bring comfortable clothes with you, because you're going to be there for a while in labor and you want to make sure that you're comfortable with what you're wearing. I also like to pack a swimsuit so I can get in and out of the tub at different points of labor. That seems to really help me out with the pain. So I always pack a swimsuit. I like to pack sweats, a comfortable t-shirt, and then by the end I'm usually just in nothing because I'm so uncomfortable, so I just like to take everything off. But you should probably bring clothes at least for the beginning parts of your labor. My 8th tip is to bring a diffuser with you. So this one has really helped me with my last 2 labors, and I like to diffuse lavender in there. So it helps to keep me calm, and when I'm breathing, I like to put it close to me so whenever I'm having contractions, I can really take a deep breath in. Breathe in the lavender and then breathe out. And then that really seems to help me focus again on, you know, getting him or getting your child here. My 9th tip applies if you have other children. So I like to bring pictures of my kids with me, and usually I can just look at them at my phone. Also, while I'm in labor and I think it's getting a little difficult and I have, like, you know, in between contractions, I like to call my kids and just check on them, and hearing their voice and seeing their pictures helps me remember that I've made it through before so I can do it again, because obviously giving birth is not easy, especially unmedicated. You need something to take your mind off of it, so I like to have pictures. You can also print them out and maybe like make a birth board of pictures and quotes and things. So that was an idea I had for my last one. But my 10th tip for an unmedicated birth is that you use a birthing tub or a bathtub with really hot water. So when I'm in intense pain and I'm feeling like I can't do it anymore and I get those pains in my back, I like to climb in and out of the tub for a bit, and I have just the hot water or stand in the hot shower with the water running down my back. And that really helps to take away some of the pain and focus on my breathing again. So, and I usually only try and use that when I'm in like those really tough moments where I feel like I can't just go on anymore. My 11th tip is this one I learned with my 3rd son. Have someone apply pressure on your hips. So my midwives had my husband grab his hands like this on the back of my hips and kind of squeeze in whenever I'd be having contractions, or push on my back, and that really helped take away some of that back pain that I was having. So applying pressure, and your midwives can tell you exactly where to apply the pressure, or you can look at different videos to help you, but that really helped. So my 12th tip is to bring something to grip. And I usually like to bring like a washcloth. So I either squeeze it in my hand super tight like this, or I'll put it in my mouth and kind of bite down onto it. Also, you can use it whenever you're feeling hot, get it really nice and cold and wet, and just stick it right there on your forehead for when you're sweating. And then you can go back to squeezing it as tight as you can. It's really nice, so that way people, you know, hands that you're holding, they can take a break so you're not squeezing them to death. So I definitely recommend bringing a washcloth to use. My 13th tip, this one seems like a no-brainer, but you really kind of forget in the moment that you need to focus on breathing. So when you're having a hard time, especially with transition, and you're getting to that point where you're feeling stuck and your body can't do it anymore, you need to focus on breathing. Just take a nice deep breath in and breathe out. And I know everyone does breathing a little bit different while they're in labor, but those seem to really help when I slow down and breathe. My 14th tip, this one's gonna seem a little silly to some of you, but if you look at my channel, I have other videos showing you. I like to dance while I'm in labor, and that one really helped take the pain away. So my husband and I, our wedding song actually came on, and it's a country song, and so we were able to slow dance, and that kind of got me into a moment again where I remembered that I can do this and I am doing it. So even though I kept telling myself I can't do it anymore, I remembered that, you know what, I am doing it already. And at the beginning, when I wasn't as quite in much pain, I was doing some twerking, so you can also see that in my video, just to help bring his head down again, because like I mentioned earlier, all my boys have had 15-inch heads, so it's not really easy to get them down there, but gravity really helps. So I recommend, even if you don't like twerking like I do, you can put on some slow music and get your hips moving around, or if you like to do some fast moves or something like that, you can do some dancing to take the pain away, or focus on something else besides the pain for that moment. So I definitely recommend dancing, and if you have your music playlist, you can already dance to the music that you have playing, or ones that you like, or even search songs that you think in the moment might help you. My last tip, my 15th tip for an unmedicated birth is to have a photographer there. And I know that's a very personal choice, but having a photographer there to document those moments, because you're going to want to look back on them again and see and just remember that the amazing thing that you did with your body, that you did that and you gave birth. And, you know, to have those photos to look back on, because you forget so much by the time, you know, afterwards. It's a long journey, and you want to have those moments to relive. And obviously my main tip is just to be in the moment and be present. And it's hard work, but you can do it, and others have done it before you, and you're going to get through it. So just stay strong, keep breathing, remember what the end goal is, and that soon you'll have your baby in your arms, and it'll all be worth it at the end.